What's up, guys? This is James, CEO of Bright Idea Marketing, and I'm coming to you with another tip on how to grow your digital agency. Now, one of the biggest pieces of change that I made to my business that made all the difference was actually white label marketing. Now, I'm going to describe white label marketing, and at the end, you're going to say, okay, I didn't know what the term was, but yeah, I'm familiar with it in general. The problem is most people don't make it an actual service. It just kind of happens as people ask for this. So let me detail out what it is that I'm talking about when I say white label marketing. But please keep in mind, you need to make this an official service because it makes all the difference. When you focus your marketing efforts towards this, it'll make all the difference in the world. I've been able to work with some of the largest companies in the world because of white label marketing. So what is white label marketing? So white label marketing actually started out, I've heard, in the pharmaceutical industry. Now, in the pharmaceutical industry, there probably still are a lot of manufacturers overseas that pump out a lot of different pharmaceutical drugs. Now, these drugs, since they have a specific formula to them, can be, so I've got a car coming here. A lot of these pharmaceutical drugs are actually made by the same manufacturers. So what happens is when you make it to your local store, CVS, Walgreens, whatever it is, by the time it gets there, Tylenol or Advil or whatever company that you're familiar with has already put their brand on the actual bottle. But if you take a step back, you realize that the drugs were probably made by the same manufacturer. So that's where the white label part comes in. The manufacturers would actually put a white label on the bottle, and by the time it got to the US or whatever other country it was going to end up in, they would basically put their name on top of the bottle. So this way, the major manufacturers wouldn't have to worry about making and manufacturing all the drugs at scale. They just had to become a marketing company. Now, when you become a marketing company, you've just become a brand, but as a result of becoming a brand, you actually have a lot of leverage. You can raise your prices. You know, there's obviously the generic drugs out there that don't have names associated with them or just generically named. So look at this from the manufacturer standpoint. Let's say there's a manufacturer who decides they want to sell drugs at a retail store, okay? Now, for them to build a business in this way directly, they would have to find out the process for making the drug, having a good sales process to be able to get in front of all these retailers and build a brand, which is a lot of work. But if you think about it, if you didn't actually have to work on the branding and the marketing side of things, and you just went after the bigger retailers or the bigger drug companies that have a brand behind them already, you could actually cut your time in half on how much effort you have to put into the marketing, how much your sales process costs, and everything, because all you'd have to do is go to a major drug manufacturer or a major drug company and tell them, I'll manufacture your drugs at a great price. You don't have to worry about the logistics. You don't have to worry about the manufacturing, the factory, the workers, none of that. Just take our drugs. We will put a white label on it, and you can put your own name on it. And if you think about it, a major drug company who would like to save time and save money would love to take a system that's basically turnkey. So they'll go to these companies and say, this is great, that sounds good. We'll obviously make a little bit extra margin on top because we have a brand and we can charge extra. So they don't have to worry about manufacturing, and the manufacturing company doesn't have to worry about marketing. Now, this essentially is what I did with my company. I approached all other agencies in my area, and I started going outside of my area as well, and basically told them, look, you don't do X service, whatever it was. Could be advertising, could be branding or website design. So whenever you get a client and you have to turn them down, instead tell them that you do offer that service. Bring me in. I'll put your name on the service. So to the customer, it seems that, you know, you have employees on staff that are working on the service. And You'll make your margin on top. You won't lose money on the table because you're basically referring them out and probably won't see the money again. In the agency world, there's a high risk for losing a client, especially when it comes to somebody who doesn't do all the services that a client needs. A lot of companies just would rather work with one vendor. And by having the ability to offer all of the services that a client would want of theirs, that's a real benefit as well. So that's what I did when I first started my agency. I went to probably hit 10 agencies in the first 6 months. There was a lot of learning and figuring out how to get in front of them. But once I did that, just those 10 in the very beginning grew into more and more and more. So think about it this way. If you want to bring on 10 customers, you have to reach out, or you have to get in front of way more than 10 prospects, okay? Because probably half or a quarter of them won't actually turn into customers. They'll just remain prospects and, go a different direction or decide otherwise. And you're gonna have to worry about marketing and dealing with how do you keep tweaking the system, constant sales calls that for the most part won't go through and become a customer. But think of if you had 10 salespeople that was on your staff, that was exclusively looking for new deals. Well, that's what the white label companies do. So I hope I'm making sense here, but essentially I look at all of my agencies that I've partnered with as my sales team. It takes a lot of work, a lot of training, time, and money to get new salespeople. So why not just partner with another company and supplement their services for them, make money doing that? It makes them happy because they can make a little extra money and not have to worry about management. It's just a perfect combination. Like, you can't beat that partnership. So I hope that makes sense. That's white label marketing. Now, there's a lot of different things that you need to be aware of, a lot of details that could go wrong. You have to maintain contact with the customer as if you were the marketing company. So things like emails, phone calls, you have to be very careful. Your processes, your reports can't have your name on it. So I've detailed that out in the Growth Agency Guide a little bit better. If you haven't heard about the Growth Agency Guide, it's a guide that I put together that basically has all the information that I wish I had when I was first starting. We've been in the agency business for well over 8 years now. We made a lot of mistakes, but we worked with some really great clients. And in the Digital Agency Guide, I put in, details on how to make the white label marketing work. So I hope this tip helped you out. Check out the Growth Agency Guide. It's got a lot more chapters. I think I have 10 or 12 chapters included in the guide. And again, it's just all the information that I wish I had. It would have saved me years of pain and struggle on trying to do it on my own. So check it out, and you all have a great rest of the day. Peace.